I'm Penny Sewall from St. Louis Park, Minnesota. And as I have worked with family-guided, routines-based intervention and tried to explain it to parents, to other caregivers, and even to colleagues who are unfamiliar with it, often the question comes up, what exactly does it look like? I usually start with Julianne's visual of the circle, in which Julianne talks about how we observe in our routines, how we take a look, and during that observation we can problem solve. We can look at what a caregiver and a child is doing, what kinds of things are strengths for them, and we can learn how to build on those. We again do more observation, and what are some of the concerning areas that a family might have? And what are some of those strategies that are already successful that we can integrate into new strategies, or perhaps even move them to different and new routines? Sometimes that involves the direct teaching, demonstration as well, but always coming back to observing and how do we engage the caregiver and the child, and how do we build that caregiver-child dyad? Parents then usually say, well, what exactly does that look like? So I created another visual, a manipulative type, to help explain it as well. And it talks then a little bit about what the caregiver coaching model looks like. It simply is 3 magnets, one representing the child, another the interventionist, and a third the caregiver. So as we begin, we might talk about each of these roles and how they work. As we look at then providing some coaching, we can explain to the parent what it might look like. So for example, we might say, I'd like to observe and see what things are going really well in a given routine. So that in that situation, our triangle changes. The interventionist looks out and observes what's going on with this dyad that's going on there. It could well be then that they step out, and along with the caregiver, the interventionist does some creative problem solving and says, what might that look like? So you have that flexibility to say, what are some of those strategies? We sometimes then would do some direct teaching that might look like the interventionist talking directly to the caregiver, or if we're doing some demonstration teaching, what it would do is it would move the interventionist here with the child. So when mom says, I kind of hear what you're saying, but I'm not quite sure how to do it, or maybe the parent says, I'm not comfortable doing that, show me what it looks like. The interventionist then comes and does some of that direct teaching and demonstration with the child, and the caregiver is observing. Sometimes your triangle might change, and you might be doing some guided practice with feedback. And at this point, our triangle becomes smaller because you have the child and the caregiver working together. But with the guided practice and feedback, the interventionist is a little bit closer to that dyad that's working together there. If you are doing caregiver practice with some feedback, that might be a little bit farther out. So you might change your positions with how that's working there. Always, in any time that you have given some ideas, whether it be in this type of a configuration or this type of a configuration where you've been modeling, or even as you come back into conversation and maybe you do some more problem solving, some more feedback, and your lines of direction are equal at that point in time. Our ultimate goal is to create this type of a strong dyad, a strong relationship, new strategies that can happen for that family, so that ultimately the interventionist is gone. And that dyad between the caregiver and the child is one that goes long beyond the time that we're there with the family. In that way, we empower families. We empower them to bring out the best in their children by giving them the best, by working on their concerns, their problems, their strengths to bring out the best in their children. So I hope that you might be able to use this type of a model, perhaps to share with families or colleagues or whomever, in explaining a little bit more about what family-guided routines might be involved and what that might look like. So, go. Do wonderful things for children, families, and each other.